elevate your mind.
Mystical melodies that touch deep inside to elevate your mind.
right, guys, we're gonna get it started. So let me welcome everybody. Give me a second here. Austin Nance, welcome. JP Kelly, welcome. Arla Connie, welcome. Lewis Roman, welcome. New face in the room. Okay, so we only have a couple guys in the room, but I'll get started. I'll talk a little bit about the race first, and then I'll get into the motorsport game stuff. A couple of people tagged me on Twitter, about the latest stuff with DK and IndyCar and stuff like that. So I'll talk about that in a second. But um, somebody asked me, Lakani, watch part of the race at Kansas, really enjoyed it. Your thoughts? Uh, I really enjoyed the race. I personally think it was like an 8 out of 10. Really solid, really enjoyable. It was it as great as Darlington? No, it wasn't, but that's not a it's not a slight on the race. It's just that Darlington was really great. But this was more than good, not quite as great, but it was really solid. I'm very happy with the race. Not with what happened with my people, but I still enjoyed the race. Bubba Wallace really looked like a contender, and unfortunately blew a tire. It's part of racing. It is what it is, but it is frustrating because he did run well last week, and then this was looking like, wow, this guy's really going to put a stamp, on this, at least the playoffs, right? At least, not just, I know everybody has him picked to be, out of it after the first round, and it kind of looks like that's what's going to happen now. But man, just a blown tire. He was definitely a contender for the win. And even if he didn't win, I think he should have been a top five at the end of the day. But it happens. It is what it is. So 8 out of 10. I think that's really really good. Um, this car does produce great racing at mile and a half tracks and 2 mile. So it's a good product. It's not perfect. Obviously, there are still some issues, but I'm really happy with it. I don't walk away from the race feeling like, wow, this car needs a ton of work. It does need work at the short tracks and things like that, but it really depends what NASCAR is looking to do. Um, the horsepower is the most obvious thing, but they're dragging their feet. Like, it's gonna take a lot more pressure for them to actually go with more horsepower. That's the thing that disappoints me because all of their solutions seem to be focused on aerodynamics. I just think that um, these cars are just too aero dependent now. It's not just this generation, right? It's the last couple of generation cars. It's not old school anymore. The old school cars they were much boxier, less aerodynamic, and they were higher off the ground. These cars are right down to the ground. It's the way it is. Some things there's just no going back. But I was really happy with the race. Besides Bubba Wallace, having that flat tire, and unfortunately, it took them a long time to get that fixed. It was too late, right? So then you had, Suarez, that late restart. I knew he was in trouble. Staying out on old tires like that, I'm just glad he didn't cause a wreck or get wrecked himself. That was a questionable call. I don't have an issue with him staying out. But what made the call a lot worse was starting on the inside. I was shocked. I couldn't believe that they chose to restart on the inside. When you don't have the grip level of new tires, the last place you want to be is in the bottom because you're going to get run over. You have nowhere to go if you get in trouble. If you start on the outside, you can run up near the wall, and it gives people room to run underneath you if they want to pass. And if there's a problem, you can avoid it because there's not going to be anyone to your outside, right? Everything's going to be to your inside. When you start on the bottom, you're going to get swallowed up. People are going to dive bomb underneath you. They're going to go around you. you're going to get surrounded. And then if you get even a little bit squirrely, the chances are you're going to get in a wreck. So I'm just glad that didn't happen, right? Because I would hate to have to be here talking about how he did something that got people wrecked. I totally get taking a chance. I'm not, I'm not mad for them taking a chance. You got to take a chance. But if you're going to stay out on old tires, you got to start on the outside. Another reason you start on the outside is because on old tires, you need momentum. Momentum is your friend. You're going to have more momentum on the outside than you are on the inside. That's just the way it is. On the inside, you need more grip, and you can't get on the gas as hard as you can on new tires. When you're on the outside, you can have more throttle in it, and it's not gonna be as hard to maintain pace. In either case, he was gonna get passed by a lot of cars. But you look at Eric Jones, he only took two tires, but he started on the outside, and guess where he finished? Third. So even at a disadvantage, he still finished third. If Suarez would have started on the outside, I think he could have had a top 10, right? And that would have been great. Uh, but in either case, there was no big wreck. It didn't really play a huge role in, ruining anybody's race. So I'm glad for that. But outside of that stuff that was disappointing for me, I did enjoy the race. I enjoyed the long runs. I enjoyed the strategy. I enjoyed even watching people. There's a lot of drama. There were guys that had, right rear. It was a common thing, right? It didn't get to the point where it became the story, but it did affect a lot of drivers in the playoffs as well. And first lap, Truex. So there's drama. I don't know if those guys were running too much camber. The setups have a lot to do with it. So sometimes these guys push the envelope, and it's Russian roulette. It could come back to bite you. So it is what it is. It still turned out to be a really really good race. I enjoyed it. Kansas is always good. It is one of the most underrated tracks. I remember years ago, there were a lot of people that were just like, meh, like weren't great crazy about it. I always loved Kansas. Always one of my favorite tracks to race, like in video games, things like that. So yeah, another really really good race at Kansas. So lots of drama. It looked like Larson was going to kind of stink up the show. The only guy early that was showing pace with him was Bubba Wallace till he blew the tire, and of course Reddick. Um, and then you had kind of Hamlin always hanging around. But at the end, Larson. I don't remember what the issue was. They ended up going to the back. They were able to race back up, but there's only so much you can do. And Reddick, he took it at the end. And so, yeah, really solid race. I don't have anything negative really to say about it. I thought it was enjoyable. The broadcast was great, as usual, and I don't. There wasn't anything that stood out to me as bad. I give it 8 out of 10, and I don't have much else to say about it. So I'm gonna read some comments before I move on to the other stuff. Let me see. We got some more people joining. Let's see. Brian Burley, welcome. Patience is a virtue, right? Yeah, I guess it is. I don't know what you're referring to exactly, but yeah, that is true. Austin says, "Yeah, man, seems like they point towards arrow." Yeah, these. Listen, man. Um, it's people have to come to terms with certain things, right? We're not going back to the old days of these boxy cars that are inches off the ground and a ton of horsepower. That's over. It's just it is what it is. Um, but I just think as every generation has come, and it did, I think, started really with the Gen 4. That car was that. the Twisted Sister car that they called it, where one car side of the car was completely shaped different from the other side. I was not a fan of the actual bodies of the car. The car did produce really great racing, so um, it's funny how that works. But even then, I remember early on the cars weren't that low to the ground. Like they would go flat in the corner where the car was having the most force downforce on the front nose. It was in the corners. But then when they would go down the straights, you would see the car got kind of move up a bit, and you could see some. I'm not saying the car was way off the ground, but it was a couple inches was more than enough. But there was a lot of play in the suspension, and I think that helped produce great racing. After that, they started pushing towards. You always heard about bump stops. Remember that when they wouldn't shut up about bump stops? And yeah, they would just run these cars to like so the whole suspension was just at its maximum of drop in on the bump stop. Like there just wasn't a lot of play, and the cars were around the side skirts, the nose, everything. It was just sealed to the ground, and you could barely fit like a credit card under there. So yeah, it became more and more and more aero, and I don't think we've ever lost that. So it's a shame, because now all you're playing with is arrow. And arrow's a funny thing. You can figure out how to punch a bigger hole in the air. You can figure out how to get more side force. You can figure out how to get the rear to have more downforce with bigger spoilers and stuff. Or you can get the nose raked more into the ground. Like they can figure that out easy. The problem is once you put these cars around each other, that's a lot harder to figure out. They really thought they nailed it with this car. They figured out a few things. On paper, they were like, okay, you're going to be able to do this, this, and that. But, on paper and actual practice are two different things. So I don't know, man. I don't know what's going to happen. I will say this. I am very happy with most of the racing that we've seen this year. This has been a pretty entertaining season. Yes, there have been a couple of stinkers in the season, but it's sports. Not every game, right? You could see every football game every weekend. Some games are going to be boring. Some games just aren't going to be as exciting as other games. That's sports. It's not supposed to be predictable. It's not like going to a fucking movie or a show where you're expecting entertainment, and if you get something that's sort of that's a fail, right? This is sports. You're not supposed to know what you're going to get. So, all things being considered, I think it's been a pretty solid season. I'm pretty happy with the product for the most part, especially keep in mind the first half of the season. Most people do watch these races on TV. They're not at the race live. The broadcast has made a huge, huge difference. And you could feel the difference once Fox went away and NBC took over. And that's why, I've always said how important the broadcast is to the entire sport of NASCAR. A lot of times you get a better sense of a race, or I should say, your view of a race depends highly on the broadcast. And you may not even be conscious of that. You may sit there and say, I really didn't enjoy that race, and you don't really understand why. You don't really focus, or you don't think about how, okay, maybe if all they do is focus on the top 10 all day and there's not a lot going on there, and the race feels like dull and boring, you don't realize it's because the broadcast chose to just focus all of their attention on that, and they're ignoring the fact that there's 30 other cars in the field racing. And sometimes you'll get great battles all the way back in 25th. That is the job of the broadcast, to find where the action is and always go there while keeping you up to date with what's happening with the leaders. Fox is terrible. NBC is much, much, much better at that, and it is a big reason why the season has improved since they took over. But even with Fox and the shitty broadcasting, we saw some great racing in from since the beginning of the season. Um, so for the most part, I'm not one of the people that are like, there's a lot of people a lot more negative about the product right now than I am. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Some races suck. I don't like road courses. And to be honest, they haven't really produced great racing. It's very rare that I've seen a road course that I was like, wow, that was entertaining from beginning to end. If and that's the funny thing, a lot of people complain about the lack of passing. These are the same people that love fucking certain tracks like road courses. And I'm like, road courses are all track position races. They're very extremely difficult to pass. So I don't get it, but I'm not gonna re-litigate all this shit. You guys know how I feel about it. So I'm pretty happy with it. I enjoyed the race. So yeah. Let's see. Flaming Tables, welcome. Disco, what was the name of the last song that played just before you started the stream? It's called Spacer. Hold on a second. Let me take a quick look. It's an old disco song, and it's if it sounds familiar, if you know Chic, Freak Out and I Want Your Love. If you know anything about them, and man, I'm sorry, I'm really terrible at remembering the most obvious shit that I know. Uh, Hold on a second. I know the song is called Spacer. I got thousands of songs, so I sometimes forget. Give me a second. We're not in a rush, guys. Man, where the fuck is it? I'm looking at all. I got thousands of songs, guys. I've been listening to music my entire life. Fuck me, I can't find it now. It's called Spacer. What the fuck? I can't find it. All right. Shit. All right. I wasn't prepared for people to ask me about the playlist, so I got to be more prepared for that. It's a really old fucking song from the 70s, so I don't remember who the fuck did that song. Hold on a second. Okay, Sheila B. Devotion, and the song is called Spacer. Okay, back to what people came for. Anyway, Project 94, welcome. How to improve NASCAR video games finale to be scheduled for next weekend to be streamed next Monday. Okay, man, good to know. So I'll be ready for that next weekend. Brian Burley, Byron Larson Hamlin, and insert driver in Final Four. Better win. um, yeah, who the fuck else? That's a good list. Byron, I guess I would have to put yesterday's winner in that mix. I don't think you could leave him out, and he runs fast every week. Reddick, um, but Byron, he's always there near the end, but he hasn't shown the same speed or competitiveness. But yeah, I wouldn't count him out. Jonathan Johnson, welcome. Uh, oh, fuck, this thing scrolls too far. I think the Gen 4 cars at the end of their era I felt like they had the right mix. If horsepower and aero would be nice to get the Gen 4 bodies was symmetrical. Yeah, I hated those fucking bodies. I'm just talking about visually. I'm not talking about how they performed, but that was an ugly car. It looked like a giant Tylenol capsule, and it was crazy. I remember when I first started going to NASCAR races, and my wife asked me one time, she's like, "Why did the car look like that?" Like when she actually saw it up close, she was like, "It's all twisted. It's weird. It's like a big plastic shell." And I was like, and I was explaining to her, how as every era moved forward, the cars became less and less stock. You could actually recognize cars from the previous eras. And yeah, I'm not a fan of how far they went away from a stock car. So, performance wise, it did the job, but it was ugly. So, and even if you made both sides symmetrical, that might have killed what made it race good, right? And it still would have been an ugly car, in my opinion. That's just me. Austin says Truex blowing a tire a few laps in was bizarre. Yeah, that was crazy. But they found a hole. Like I think he ran over something, and you never know. He must have ran over something when he was out there. And the shit, once they got racing and the tires were under pressure, they started to deflate quick. Um, but they did find the hole. So he ran over something. That was crazy. That's terrible luck. Like I'm not a Truex fan, but I could imagine if you're a Truex fan, that's got to be something that really was a kick to the balls. Brian Burley, patience. IndyCar staying patient with motorsport. Oh, okay, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Let me read a few more comments and then I'll get to that stuff. I meant to say a mix of horsepower and aero, not if. Austin said that's what makes sports great, unpredictability. I agree. Yeah, if every week it was like, oh my God, this nail biting finish, you wouldn't appreciate it. Like it would feel like a fucking staged, right? When you go watch WWE, right, wrestling, you're expecting a show. You're not gonna go there and watch a boring match and then walk out of there saying, "Hey, I got my money's worth." You're like, I'm expecting to see some crazy drama and wild shit. It's staged, right? But sports is sports. Jonathan Johnson says it would be cool if the Gen 4 cars was a little higher up. Uh, I think that's what the next gen car has a upper hand. Not perfect, but still like I can see sunlight under the back of the car. Yeah, they're not as low as the previous gen, that's for sure. But I do think if you just an inch, right? That's not a lot, but that would make a huge difference. But I don't know, right? Because the way these cars are underneath, perfectly flat with the spoiler, I don't know if that would work. So that's above my head. Uh, Austin, I can't really complain about the season, either race product wise. Yeah, I mean, how much fucking better do you want the race? Like, I don't know what people expect. And these low attention span viewers, they want to see constant, every lap, they want to see somebody passing somebody. If it was easy to pass, it would be boring. Like, it's supposed to be hard, right? Watching somebody hold someone off for lap after lap and the guy's trying to, that's also compelling to watch. Once you catch a guy, if it's easy to just go by him, I don't know. Like that's the whole back and forth. Offense, defense, right? So I don't know. I guess it's just me. By the way, guys, before I forget, I fucking won a race. And of course I didn't live stream it or record it, but I won a race at Kansas. and I actually dominated most of the race. It got hairy a few times, um, and yeah, I did even a green flag pit stop. I The second place guy was on my bumper, and I got out in front of him, but in like 2 laps he passed me. He started to pull away, and then I started to reel him in, and I stayed with it. I passed him again, and to the last lap I was out front, and he caught me in the last lap. He tried to pass. He got into me a little bit because he dive bombed, but he backed off because he couldn't hold it, and he apologized. And I told him, it's hey, that's racing. That's racing for a win, and he raced clean. Like that's a clean uh thing, and I didn't get wrecked, and I won. So yeah. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But I was pissed because I'm like, oh, the one time I'm not live streaming it or recording it, I fucking won. So anyway, I was really thrilled with that. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Let's see. 1200 HP next gen. Welcome. Still spiraling about motorsport games. I don't I don't know what you mean spiraling about motorsport games. Jonathan says, hopefully NASCAR will remove the rear diffuser, but don't lower the rear bumper like Gen 6 cars and make the tires better. Yeah, I mean, look, there are things they can do. There's smart engineers out there, but they got to figure something out, I guess. But if, the mile and a half package, if they want to leave it alone, I would not be opposed to that. It fucking works and it produces great racing. So, whatever they do, honestly, I don't think they need to touch the mile and a half package. Even if they said add horsepower, I might say leave it alone because it works. It works. I know that people would say they disagree with that, but I'm more worried about the short tracks and the road courses and those type of things. There's a problem there. The mile and a half to 2 mile package works. Leave it alone. What if it ain't broke? Don't fix it. That's my thought. The other packages for the shorter tracks and the road course, do what you need to do. But that's how I feel about it. Flaming Table says, "Oh, chic. Yeah, yeah, I remember them. Yeah, so um, Miles, the fuck is his? I think Miles is his last name. Oh my God, why you got? Now I'm thinking of something I shouldn't be thinking about. But um, he's a famous producer. He's produced great music for a lot of groups and a lot of people all the way into the '90s. But he was the guitarist on Chic, and you can hear that guitar riff in that song Spacer, and that's his production. So anyway, um, let's see, 1200 HP. Most fans don't know how to change oil, so they don't know anything about what changes NASCAR needs. Yeah, I agree. I do think people just make assumptions, but horsepower, I do think, um, would alleviate most of the issues, if not all. But like I said, there just isn't there just isn't a realistic chance that NASCAR is going to just add, go back to the old days of 850, 900 horsepower. That's not going to happen. Maybe they're willing to add 75 horsepower or whatever. Bring it to 750 uh, and see what happens. I don't know. All right, let's see. Sheila E. I got it, boss. Thanks. Oops, B, not E. Yeah, it's Sheila B. Sheila E is someone else. uh, let's see. What's your prediction for the falling for Bristol when it's said and done? I don't know. I got to look. Um, Bubba is probably out. I think the guys that are there now, I think Martin Truex is. I think he'll make it. I think he's going to pull out enough to get out of the bottom four. So I think Bubba's done. Um, I got to go look at who's in the bottom four. The only name I saw that I think can save himself is Truex. He's only in the bottom by like a couple points. He can make that up in one race. He doesn't even have to win. There's other guys near the bottom of that I think he can outrun them. And that's all he needs to do is outrun a couple of those guys next week. He doesn't have to win, right? There's not that desperation. So I think he can do it. I'll be shocked if he's eliminated. But the other three names I saw, I think they're in big trouble. I think the other guy that's going to join them is whoever Truex passes in the bottom. There's a couple, three or four guys in the bottom that are not in the bottom four. They could easily, yeah, get past. So Tanner Levasseur. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Welcome. 2004-5 is when the team started to skew the cars. Looking back at it, damn, they were ugly. Yeah, man, that shit that was they were ugly as hell, man. And it just looked weird. Like if you've ever seen funny car drag racing, that giant, the whole car is like this, and then like they lift the whole carcass up, and then they work on the engine, then they drop the whole thing. It's just a big plastic shell. That's all it is. It's a plastic shell. That's what that car reminds me of. It just looks like a plastic shell over a body. It's ugly, man. The only thing that saved that car was the paint schemes, right? If it had a good paint scheme, it kind of hid some of that. But when you really looked at the car up close, it was ugly. Jonathan Johnson, my biggest gripe is the tires. Like four fresh tires don't seem to work at most tracks, and the well, yeah, that is part of the lack of horsepower. That is part of um, these. I don't know, man. There's a lot of things that play into it, but more horsepower would create more tire wear. So that's one of the reasons why that is number one on everyone's list. Add more horsepower. Um, I'm pretty happy with a lot of the tracks they've raced at this year, but obviously some tracks, yeah, there doesn't seem to be much tire wear. Flaming Table says I go to WWE shows expecting to spend $125 for seats and having to sit through commercials at the live show. Are you fucking kidding me? You got to sit through commercials at a live event? That's fucked up. I didn't know that. The last time I went to a WWE event, holy shit. It was at Madison Square Garden, and I remember Booker T was there. That was my favorite wrestler. And fuck, that had to be in the early 2000s or the late 90s. One of those two. It might have been the late 90s. Um, Yeah, so I don't follow WWE anymore, by the way. But holy shit, that sucks. That you got to spend that kind of money to go watch a staged event and sit through commercials. That's fucking insane. Andrew Rye, welcome. Hey, Disco, rough few days on iRacing. Yeah, listen, man. Welcome to iRacing. It's going to happen. You just got to keep racing. My only advice to you is don't worry about your fucking iRating. Don't worry. Just focus on running clean laps and try to enjoy that. If you get too competitive, it's gonna drag you down. It's gonna drag you down. It's tough. Austin, congratulations on. Thank you. Uh, I threw. Oh, silly. Andrew, I threw a race away after scrubbing the wall. We all do it. We all do it. Congrats, Disco. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Congrats. I did burn it down. You know what? I do have a replay of the race. So I can't do it here because it's on my home setup. When you save a replay, it saves to that particular PC. In other words, I can't go online now and show it to you. But I do have the replay. So what I'll do is, if I remember, the next time I'm gonna do a live stream of a race, I'll show you guys a couple of clips from the replay, and you'll see the highlight. You'll see. I'll show you when I pass for the lead and the pit stop and the burnout, whatever. If I remember, if you catch me on a live stream before the race, like during practice, remind me to show you the replay, and I'll show you little quick clips, and you'll see it. But if you don't remind me, I won't remember. Let's see. Jonathan says the fall Kansas race in 2020. Hold on. Was frustrating to watch because Kevin Harvick, who had the fastest car, couldn't pass Joey, but that's because of the 550. Yeah, I remember that. But I got news for people. Arrow push, and that fucking that's always going to be a part of racing. There's no way to eliminate the arrow push and that wall. So definitely the 550 package really hurt. Um, yeah, I remember that. That was pretty, you know, if you can hold a guy off for 10 laps, I could live with that. But as far as I remember, he fucking held him off almost for an entire green flag run. I don't remember for sure. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it seemed like a shitload of laps. It was too many laps. And that's what pissed people off. It's like, I could live with 10. Like, if you could hold someone off for 10 laps, good hard racing. But yeah, after 10 laps, man, you can't pass a guy. Yeah, that's a problem. Austin says Truex may make it by a hair. Yeah, I don't think he's as much trouble as people think. Like I said, he's only like, correct me if I'm wrong, 2 points, from the under the bottom, 2 points. There's a couple of guys above him that he can just, if he just does better than they do in at Bristol, he'll make up those points. Now, obviously, he's going to want to finish as close up front as possible. But I think he can outrun a lot of those guys in particular. I don't think he's in as big trouble as the other three. I think you guys gotta let me know because I can't go looking for it right now. I'm gonna talk about this motorsport games thing, uh, but let me get through a couple more comments and then I'll get to that. Jonathan says, I really hope if Kevin Harvick will win. I guess you're a Kevin Harvick fan. He's been running well. I mean, very respectful, especially this being his last year. Um, Never been a Harvick fan myself, but I do have a ton of respect for him. Uh, yeah, I think he does run well at Bristol, so he's got a shot for sure. Joshua Michael Brown, welcome. Another new face to the live stream. I'm bored yesterday race at Kansas. Oh, I mean, hey, you're welcome to it, but uh, I thought it was good. I think it's good racing. Now, um, I don't know if you saw it live or on TV or what. I enjoyed it. I mean, I'm sorry if you didn't, but I don't know what to tell you. OMT, welcome, sucker. Oh yeah, that's Booker T, man. Can you dig it, sucker? That was great. Austin Nance, MSG. Now that's a cool moment. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna get to that. Hold on. Oh, Madison Square Garden. You're not talking about motorsport games. Uh, yeah, that was a long time ago. Let's see. Jonathan says I'm not a fan of WWE, but my favorite fighters is The Rock, John Cena, Rey Mysterio. Let's see. Austin, I remember people wanted that 550 package, and we knew we. Oh yeah, I warned people from day one. Um, that All Star race. I warned everybody. I said they're what they're promoting is gonna make things so much worse, and it did. So flaming tables, facts. People were foaming at the mouth after that All Star race where they tested that package, and I fucking told you guys. I said this is gonna be bad, and it was. And I remember Captain Sleeveless was big on it, and Eric Estep They were like raving about it, and they're like, we need this everywhere. And I fucking told people, this is not going to work. This is, I don't want to relitigate that whole thing. OMT, liking John Cena is like enjoying pack. That's a good comment. Andrew Wright, a problem that Truex has is that Bristol is his work track. No top five since 2012. I think he's gonna pull it out. I think not necessarily win, but I will be surprised if he doesn't get in. Like if he gets eliminated, it is Bristol. I don't want to get carried away because Bristol, anything could happen. Bristol, you could get caught up in some shit. So, everyone's in trouble at Bristol. I just have a feeling he'll pull it out. Two out of three are still fighting till this day. Okay, guys. So look, it's time to get to the motorsport games thing. All right. Before I talk about the IndyCar part of it, I'm sure most of you have already heard DK, uh, Dmitry Kosko, has resigned from motorsport games. It might be old news to you guys. This happened a while ago, right? I think that's the beginning of the end because um, he's jumped. That's actually jumping ship, right? We've been saying this is a sinking ship for a long time, and I think he finally reached the point where he's like, okay, it's time for me to jump and get out while the getting's good. He's got a shitload of money. He's made so much money. He can leave and not really. It's not going to affect him. I don't know if he's going to be under investigation. I think definite red flags all over the place. Um, but he's gone. The other news is IndyCar staying patient with motorsport games amid issues. Right. So I'm going to read this article and then I'm gonna tell you what's going on. Okay. So the IndyCar series continues to practice patience with motorsport games. Of course, the rest of us are like, what are they fucking thinking? They're crazy with everything going on. But I'm going to explain it to you. So it also says its chosen partner for a new video game for Xbox, PlayStation, and PC platforms that was announced July of 2021. An update provided by the series in March spoke to the myriad problems being experienced by the game developer and the unsure future of the game's release. JHRRLL biggest winners of Fierce Leaders Circle Battle at Laguna. What the fuck am I reading? Okay, I'll keep. In a new update offered by Penske Entertainment CEO Mark Miles, the owner of IndyCar and the Indianapolis Motor Speedway will remain hopeful that the company will deliver a product for its fans while being prepared to react if it does not reach the finish line. So, this, okay, so obviously when people see this, remain hopeful that they're going to deliver a product, blah, blah, blah. Look, I don't think they are as delusional as people think. The problem is IndyCar and NASCAR, they're apples and oranges, right? NASCAR is a bigger market product. So IndyCar is even more niche. There haven't been any much interest in making IndyCar games, right? IndyCar fans have been waiting forever for a game, and motorsport games is really the only ones to step up and get the license and work on a game. So that's the honest truth. So what this guy's talking about, Mark Miles, he's just telling you they don't have another option. There's nobody banging down their door saying, "Please let us make a game." The only possible alternative I could see is iRacing. But iRacing, the only thing I've seen that they've even teased is NASCAR, right? Through Junior. I haven't seen any inkling of another company showing interest. I might be wrong. I'm not an IndyCar fan. I don't follow IndyCar, so I can't tell you that. Somebody else may come in and who knows more and just say, yeah, these people are interested, this company, blah, blah. I don't know. But from what I can tell, Motorsport Games is all they have. So they know it's a sinking ship. They know that this company hasn't given anyone any reason to believe in them, right? Except Captain Sleeveless. He's the only one that believes strongly that they're going to produce a really solid IndyCar game, right? But outside of that, nobody believes in these guys. So what he's doing is there's no reason to shit on Motorsport Games because that's the only people making the games for them. So that would be stupid to come out and be negative. That's why they're like, okay, they remain hopeful. They know deep inside this shit's probably not going to work out. But there is a slight chance, right? We already know, right? They've already confirmed there's no career mode. So this is already confirmed to be a extremely bare bones product. It's just the cars and the tracks and probably single races. That's it. There's no career mode. So they have set the bar all the way to the bottom. You cannot set the bar lower than they have with this game. So what IndyCar is looking at is, look, it's not going to have a career mode. It's just going to be a plain Jane race game with IndyCar stamped on it. If they're able to push this out the door and it's not loaded with bugs and glitches and it works, right? Even if it's plain, it's something, right? That's all we have. And they're putting all their hope into this one game that we already know has nothing to offer except the cars and the tracks. That's why they're being somewhat positive. But if you look immediately, he says, or they say, while being prepared to react if it does not reach the finish line. So they must have some plan B in place. I don't know what that plan B is. Because, like I said, I'm not aware of anyone who's interested in making an IndyCar game. That doesn't mean there isn't somebody interested. I just don't know. So they're just saying, look, we're hopeful they're going to produce this game and it's going to be good, but we're prepared to react if it doesn't. So I know a lot of people, when they first heard this, they're like, oh, these fucking people, they're crazy. They're not crazy. They are just real. They're realistic about what's happening. And they know that the chances are this shit's not going to work out. But there's no reason to shit on it now, right? That doesn't benefit them. It doesn't benefit anyone. So they're just going to be like, hey, we're hopeful. They already said, supposedly, let me read this. So, because what I'm about to say is confirmed right here. It's still not clear how it will end. So they know. I think a lot of really good work has been done with the current partner. Again, he's just being positive. He's just putting us, this is spin, guys. Motorsport Games. They've put a lot into it. No, they haven't. There's no career mode. There's no. It's just cars and tracks. Okay. I think a lot of really okay. Let me see. We've seen evidence of how it looks. It's amazing. Again, they're just really promoting this shit because that's all they have, right? So they're gonna put it in the best positive light. So they've seen evidence of how it looks. So what is evidence? They didn't say we've tried it, we've played it, we have firsthand experience with it. They're just saying we've seen evidence of how it looks. So maybe they saw some gameplay footage, maybe they saw screenshots, whatever. So visually, yeah, I don't doubt it's probably going to look visually, impressive. So did Ignition, but they're just putting a spin on it. The game is in a playable state from what we've heard already. So I do believe motorsport games does have something to push out the door. This is why I remind people this is apples and oranges. You cannot compare this to the NASCAR situation. They lied about working on the game, that they were deep into development. That was all a lie. They don't have anything. And it's all going to be revealed. I think we're going to find out September 30th. Everybody's waiting. It's 3 weeks away, guys. And we'll finally, hopefully, know for sure, right? I got my eyes open because I am not convinced 100% yet that exclusivity is gone. I know that's what a lot of people already reported, but until they confirm it, I have to say, I have my doubts. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. But when it comes to IndyCar, this is all they have. And they already know that motorsport games, they actually confirmed the game has been worked on. Several people confirmed that, yeah, it's even playable. What that means, who knows? I don't trust motorsport games. And if it's full of problems, they're not going to tell you that. But that's why you're seeing that IndyCar is sticking with them. But they're telling you right here, prepare to react if it doesn't reach. So they have a plan B in place, or they're working on a plan B. So, but they are struggling to have the resources to finish the job. We know, right? It's a sinking ship. Money, they're out of money. So they're working on other ways that other partnerships could be established to help them get it done. It's a fancy way of saying they're trying to squeeze money out of somewhere. Other partnerships, yeah, that just means somebody they want someone else to foot the bill and invest more money. Miles says the same timeline for knowing whether the game will proceed is unchanged. This is kind of confusing. The same timeline for knowing whether the game will proceed is unchanged. What the fuck does that mean? I guess they have a timeline where they're supposed to get official confirmation that, oh yeah, this game is going to be ready by this time. I mean, that's kind of weird. I think it'll be clear by the end of the year. So from now to the end of the year, I guess they'll know where they stand. One of the reasons they desperately want to finish it is they think that it is essentially a breakthrough technology in the market and will have relevance in other sports. That's more bullshit marketing. They desperately want to finish because this is all they have. This is all they have. They're losing the NASCAR license, so they're banking everything on this IndyCar game. That's why they're desperate. Because if this fails, they're fucking done. I still think they're done, but it's just taking a long time. Listen, the bottom line is this whole article it's a big Hail Mary. That's what it is. It's a Hail Mary. They got all their eggs in one basket. It's this IndyCar game or bust for the company, for IndyCar, for motorsport games. Um, yeah, this breakthrough technology. Like what? I don't. Anyway, um, those are my thoughts on that. Let's see. I'm going to read some comments. Okay. Hold on, guys. Flaming tables. Truex has all the talent. His crew chief is holding him back. It is a team sport, guys, but I don't know. I think they've had some bad luck. Bobby87, welcome. Hey to you as well. Jonathan says, what is your take on the Larson Elliott thing? I don't know if you said something about it. Oh, yeah, well, I'm not. Listen, man, those two have had issues for a while. I don't think Elliott has forgotten the couple of times that Larson has run him into the wall. He did it more than once. As I've stated before, Larson he will use you up. And I've told people this before. He does have a reputation for using people up. and great talent, great driver, but he is a bit over aggressive, and even with his own teammates. So I don't think Elliott's forgotten. So now, even if there's something that happens and it's just racing or a mistake, he's going to take every little thing personal. Um, I don't like Chase Elliott. I'm not really a fan of Larson. I don't care for either one. I don't like these mega super teams like Hendrick. So for me, I love knowing that they're having internal conflict, but it's definitely clear there's a problem. I don't care what anyone says. At some point, Hendrick is going to force them to like say the right things, but I don't think they like each other. I think they have problems, and I think it's lingering for a long time. Um, I don't know, and I also think you know I know Chase came down into him to send a message, but he could have cut a tire doing that. This is a guy that's running for a championship. What if you did do something that would really hurt his chances? That would be a ugly thing for these guys within the organization. So yeah, I don't think much more of it than that. I do think that Rick Hendrick's going to sit them down. He's going to have a talk with them if he hasn't already. He's not going to let this shit linger too much further. But that's what these guys, they have this elitist attitude. Like they just this is what happens when you race for these top tier organizations. You always think that everyone is there to get out of your way, and now you got people on the same team going butting heads. Yeah, it's getting crazy. Let's see. Larson made the right choice not to hit Brad's car. Yeah, I agree. I don't remember too much about what happened, but yeah. Whoa, I had no idea. Andrew says I had no idea DK left. Yeah, he left a few days ago. Like somebody sent me a link on Twitter, and I checked it out, and it was just a quick article that he left. He resigned. It didn't really get into details, but clearly, if once he jumped ship, I think things are really taking a turn for the worse, right? Even though they were already bad, and I think he sees the writing on the wall, and for whatever reason, maybe he figures, let me get out now before the spotlight gets on me and maybe any potential investigation. He's involved in a lot of shady shit with business and other people. So there's a lot of lawsuits with motorsport games. And I know for a fact that his name is attached to most of it, if not all of it. So I think he's trying to run while he can. I don't think, if they really want to investigate him, this might as well go down with the ship, but whatever. Tanner says if MSG folds and lawsuits continue to fly out of the mailbox, I don't see how DK won't be investigated. Yeah, I think regardless of what happens with motorsport games, at some point he's going to be he's going to be investigated somewhere. If and for all we know, he might already be under investigation. Remember, we don't know everything. There's not a lot of people investigating this. Mike Straw is the only actual journalist, right? The rest of us, we're just talking heads on fucking social media, right? I'm not a journalist. I've always told people a lot of times I find out stuff from other people. You guys tune in just to get my take, right? My opinion on something. You're not really, and if you haven't heard about something, yeah, if you might be getting news from me, but I'm not really breaking anything. This happened a week ago, pretty much. So, yeah, but there's no way this guy's not going to be investigated. And like I said, he might already be under investigation. Too much has happened. Too many people have been shafted dealing with motorsport games, and he was the CEO. His hands are as dirty as anybody's. And I told you guys from the very beginning, When I first started finding out about this guy, I made videos about it. I told you guys, huge red flags for me. Anybody who's been CEO of multiple companies, and these companies have absolutely nothing to do with each other in terms of products or services, that's a huge red flag. How do you go from a business, let's say, selling uh, selling produce, right? Edible produce, whatever it is, right? Let's say cereal, right? He's the fucking CEO of Kellogg's. How do you leave that and then now you're the CEO of a film company? And then jump out of that and now you're the CEO of a video game company. And now you're the CEO of a fucking toilet bowl manufacturing company. Like, he's been involved in several different businesses as CEO. So he's a jack of all trades. He's a fucking genius in business at everything. Like, we all have specialties, things that we specialize in, right? So it was always a red flag for me. And I told you guys from day one, something ain't right with this guy. That's a huge red flag. And I don't think he's gonna now that with the notoriety of this whole thing, he's not gonna be able to be CEO of anything else. I don't think. Like, really. Yeah, there's actually an article about it. So it's legit. It's He's gone. Austin says, "I That's a damn shame. I feel for IndyCar fan." Yeah, I'm not an IndyCar guy. I don't know much about it, but I do feel for these guys. I know what it's like to wait and wait and wait for a game that never comes. So, and then the only thing you might get is from motorsport games, and there's no career mode. It's a glorified fucking bare bones product, um, at best. And even if everything works, that's it. So yeah, it sucks, man. It really does. Austin says, "LOL, amazing. More like amazingly broken." Diehard, welcome. Just got here. There's not a lot left in the live stream, but we'll keep it going a little longer. Flaming tables, playable and ready for release are two entirely different things. Playable is about as subjective as 3-year-old can pick up the controller and play it. Exactly. So that's why I mentioned in the article, they're like talking about how it looks, right? They maybe were shown a couple of screenshots, maybe a minute of gameplay footage. We don't know, right? Mark Forget, welcome. NASCAR 21 isn't even playable. Of course not. No, that's garbage. I'm talking about IndyCar. Like, their bottom of the barrel low bar is release a game that works. That's it. If they can release it and it's not destroyed by bugs and glitches and you can play it, it's got nothing, no career mode, nothing. It's just cars and tracks. It's going to be the most plain game ever. But if it works, you're going to get people saying, well, it's something. At least I can have fun racing. And I'm just giving you the best possible version of it, right? The glass half full view. What if racing? Welcome. What if racing says? Hold on a second. The fuck is this? Hold on, guys. The fuck is this? Why am I getting these fucking stupid? I don't know how they get my fucking cell. Anyway, where was I? Okay, welcome. Isn't it pointless to release IndyCar game this year since the season is over? What's the point of that then? LOL. Yeah, it is kind of a waste, but if you're an IndyCar fan, it doesn't matter if the season's over. Like, they're desperate for a game. They just want it as soon as possible. And it's not going to have a career mode. So, what difference does it make when it comes out? That's the way I see it. And these guys are desperate. Like, they need this game to be any positive buzz they can get. Like, oh shit, it works. It works. It's a working product. To them, that's going to be the fucking that life preserver that they need. But yeah, if you're an IndyCar fan, are you really going to complain that if the season's over. That you just want a game as soon as you can. But I really hope that people that are looking forward to this game, for the love of God, please don't pre-order. Please don't buy this game on release. Give it a week. That's all I'm asking. Give it a week. Let other people play it. See what they say. Do not hand over money to this company. Let's start showing some good business practice. Let's show these developers that they have to earn our money. You're not going to just blindly hand it over. That's my only advice to you guys. Give it a week. Diehard says, is Rockstar going to be the new EA? Sadly, I hate to say it, I think things are headed in that direction. And I've always been a Rockstar fan. I love all their games. I think they are the best game developer for me, like that I've ever seen. Like the games they put out were some of the best ever. That being said, if we're being realistic, Rockstar has changed a lot in recent years. Their greed has gone skyrocketed. I think a lot of things changed for the worse after Grand Theft Auto Online came out with GTA 5. They didn't realize how much of a cash cow GTA Online was going to be with the shark cards and all that. And I think it was such a surprise to them. It changed their entire outlook on how to do business. We stopped getting like DLC, story mode DLC like we used to get, right? We had the Ballad of Gay Tony, The Lost in the Dam for GTA 4. We had Undead Nightmare for Red Dead Redemption. You know, they don't even do that stuff anymore. Everything now is geared towards milking the shit out of online. So, yeah, sadly, they are the next EA. They are well on their way. Also, two of the biggest influences within the company are gone. Dan Hauser is gone. And fuck, here we go again with the fucking brain freeze. Leslie Benzies, right? The producer. They are probably the most responsible for the greatness that Rockstar was. They're gone. They've been gone, right? So they did have a, I guess, a hand in the development of GTA 6 because GTA 6 has been in development for almost a decade. So they were still in the company. So hopefully, what I'm hoping is that their fingerprints are all over this game. But from this point forward, yeah, it's not looking good, man. Take Two is greedy. And look what they've done with the NBA 2K franchise. Like it's just they're going down the same path of EA and Madden football and that kind of shit. So yeah, that's they are going to be the new EA. I don't know how quick it's going to happen. I do have some pretty big concerns with GTA 6. I'm excited, but I'm also really concerned. I do want to talk about GTA 6, but I think that deserves its own dedicated video. So I will talk about GTA 6, but I want to have something more concrete to talk about. I don't want to do what all these other clickbait YouTubers. You type in GTA 6 and all you see is a bunch of clickbait. People claiming they have leaks and all kinds of shit and it's all rumors, shit they make up. I don't want to be one of those people. So, yeah, I'm going to wait till there's actual confirmed information. But I will be talking a lot about GTA 6 at some point. So I hope you guys are interested in that because it's coming. Um, yeah, let's see. Austin says, Chase threw another tantrum this weekend. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that guy. The Golden Boy is not. He is, and he bitches and moans a lot on the radio. And this is what I tell people. You know, he's got a lot of fans, so you don't hear a lot of it. You don't hear people saying, "Oh, he's a big crybaby. He bitches and moans a lot." But when Bubba Wallace does it, oh, it's a big fucking problem. It's the end of the world. Oh my God. Like he's the only one to ever fucking bitch and moan and complain. But you see, guys, these drivers all do this stuff. So, but it depends who it is. Diehard says Chase has always been fake as they come. I agree. Flaming Tables. Chase is probably more tired of Larson than anyone since he has to deal with him a lot more. I bet Chase is tired of Larson's little old me. So I'm sorry, crap he always pulls. Yeah, again, a lot of drivers. Look, man, I'm not a fan of Larson. I do think uh he's over aggressive. Um, but you know, I've seen just about every driver do something either dumb or over aggressive, and then they're like, "Oh shucks, my bad." And then when it happens to them, they get mad. That is part of sports. It's a part of life. It's being human. Now, when people do it all the time, yeah. And Chase is starting to come across as a whiny fucking complainer. By the way, so is Blaney. Ryan Blaney, he bitches and moans a lot too. Every fucking week he's upset on screaming on the radio. Larson, he's got that, aw shucks thing, right? So in many ways, he's a lot like Ross Chastain. He'll give you that goofy grin after a race and oh shucks, but these guys use up other people. And the only reason Ross has calmed down is because Trackhouse, they're just not as fast as they were earlier in the year. They're inconsistent. So they haven't given him a competitive car. It's still competitive, but not as competitive. Whereas Larson, every week he's got a car that can win. That's the only difference. But yeah, those guys are all, they use people up on the racetrack and then they're like, oh, shucks, I don't know what to say. It happens. So Austin says, I don't like either Chase or Larson, but I'm about right and wrong. Yeah, what's right is right, what's wrong is wrong. Flaming says, Larson acts like he's 6'5", 320 in the car, outside the car. He's soft as Charmin. I agree. You're going to have to man up and stand on your actions at some point. Yeah, I remember. He fucking ran Bubba Wallace up into the wall, and then Bubba Wallace did something unforgivable when he spawned him on the front stretch. We all agree on that. I don't want to hear shit from people. I was all over that. So this is not defending what Wallace did. But then Wallace getting out of the car and going up to him and shoving him. So everybody wants the good old, days of NASCAR where guys, when men were men. But then when you see a guy step up to somebody, what was everybody saying? Oh, he's going up and assaulting Larson. So when you run people over, when you push, with your race car and you use people up, yeah, at some point somebody's gonna get tired of it and it's gonna get physical. So I don't know. He's not a big guy, but that's the thing. These guys are big, real tough because they're used to having their crew step in between and not allow that. So when Bubba Wallace came up to him and fucking gave him a good shove, he didn't react at all. He walked away like a bitch, basically. So again, fans are very fucking selective, but that reminded me of that. But you're never gonna see Larson, put his hands up. He's not gonna do it. Die Hard. Oh, here goes. He's been Noah. I see Noah's name. Noah has 5 contract offers for Cup, Xfinity, and trucks. Update for your favorite. I don't know. You got to tell me who's offering him contracts. If you know who it is, let me know. Um, let me know. Die Hard also says Larson is just better than Elliott. Chase is a jelly golden boy. All right, no comment. Mark Forget, Dimitri should apply to work at EA. EA has enough crooks. Why would they let him in? It's like they invented what he's doing. They've been doing it longer. Brian Burley. So what happens 9:30 with MSG? I don't know. The big rumor from everyone is we're gonna find out they're losing the license and I guess there's a NASCAR is going to make a big announcement about the future of NASCAR video games. That's all I know. That's the rumor. It didn't come from me. I heard it from everyone else, and that's the only thing I've been talking about, giving my take on it. That's why I'm the only person in the community who's letting you guys know, um slow down a little bit. All the rumors came out about exclusivity is over, and I'm not sure. I'm hoping that 9:30 we get that news like, okay, yeah, there's no more exclusivity. That'll be the best news. Um I have There's some red flags up. I've already told you guys, not 100% sure about the exclusivity, because why would anyone negotiate with Motorsport Games for a license that not isn't going to be exclusive? Like, why not just wait? The fact that somebody's negotiating with Motorsport Games is a red flag for me, and it just tells me that license must still have some value. And the only value any license can have is exclusivity. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. Maybe a company is waiting until the last few days of the month to buy the exclusive license off of Motorsport Games when they are the most desperate. Well, they said they're already been negotiating. So there's no more waiting, right? So the negotiations started a long time ago. Again, why would you negotiate for a license that isn't exclusive? That doesn't make sense to me. So can't wait for Disco to call the 50 to 100K people that buy IndyCar lemmings. They are lemmings. If you run out and buy the game and don't give it a couple days before you do it, you are a fucking lemming. Even if the game turns out to be good, even if it turns out to be good, stop pre-ordering. Don't buy the game on release day. You waited this fucking long, and you can wait a few days after that. Let other people in the community, YouTubers, whoever it is on social media, Twitch, whatever, let them fucking try the game. Let them play it. Let them show you the game before you decide I'm gonna hand over money to this fucking scam company. If you just go and pre-order or buy it on day one, you are a fucking lemming. I'm not letting up on that. I don't care what people think. I've had people get upset. Oh, it's my money. I could do what I want. Yeah, you could be a fucking idiot if you want. Nobody's stopping you. I'm not putting a gun to your head. I'm just saying, could you fucking grow up and have some fucking adult thought like, hey, I'm not going to blindly hand over my money. Let me see what the product is first before I hand over money to this company. That's all. Diehard, I agree completely. Played GTA San Andreas as a kid, blew my mind. Yeah, it's just not the same company anymore. It's sad. Five wouldn't had a story DLC but got canceled. Yeah, I heard the rumors that they were working on something, but it got canceled. Why? Because that money started rolling in from all the shark cards, right? And all the other shit. When they saw how much money was coming in, they said, "Forget that shit. Let's keep pumping DLC, well, not DLC, but content into online to keep people spending money." So, yeah. Jonathan says, it's sad that Rockstar Games is looking like EA. I understand they need to make money, but why don't they do to make something like Midnight Club, Bully, and others they made in the past? It's simple. Greed. If you don't, the reason we don't have GTA 6 today, that game could have come out years ago. They would have pushed it out the door. But they don't have a reason to rush anything out the door because the GTA Online by itself keeps Rockstar not only afloat but prospering. So, what's the incentive for them to rush a game out? They're like, let's hold this back. Wait, once that GTA Online starts dying off a little bit, then we got something else coming down the pipe. We could push that out. And that's supply, that's economics. It's simple economics. And if people are still rushing and spending, billions of dollars on a product that is 10 years old, or not, that whatever the fuck it came out, this is an old game. This is the third generation. Uh and it's still making money. People are still buying copies of this game. So it's actually smart of Rockstar to wait. You don't Why rush another product? The moment they rush GTA out the door, GTA Online for GTA 5 will die immediately because everyone's going to run to the new shiny object. So if this thing is still generating a lot of money, why would you push out a new product that's just going to shut that faucet off? You can wait. You can afford to wait. That's why we don't have, Red Dead Redemption 2 is the only product they released in that time frame. So Diehard says they will make a video on anything. I heard the game is going to be leaked to shit though. Listen, everything leaks now. Even Red Dead Redemption 2, I remember towards the end, a bunch of leaks started coming out. But if things leak, whatever it is, if it's real, I'll talk about it. But I refuse to become one of these clickbaiters. If you want to know how to grow a channel overnight, just start boosting, like, just start pumping GTA 6 bullshit, clickbait. Even and the click, they're not even trying. It's just the most blatant clickbait. But people come, they watch, they give thumbs up, and it's crazy. I'm not going to be one of those people. Midnight Club was my child. Yeah, man, great fucking games. Project 94, remembering the Auto Club Chase Elliott Rage. Yeah, I remember that. And Larson fucking ran his ass up into the wall. And that was, yeah. Let's see. When Junior retired, people said go with Chase. Like I was, nah. Yeah, I don't know, man. Look, to each his own. Everybody has their fucking favorites. I don't I don't hold, anything against anybody. You're free to root for whoever you want. Blaney is not very good. I think he's good. I do think, I don't know. I think he's talented, but I do also think that he does drive a little bit over his head. Um, and he complains a lot, man. He's always upset. I don't remember the last time he ran a race he wasn't screaming into his fucking radio about somebody or something. Jonathan says, I don't care what anyone says. I hate what Elliot did. Oh my God, I remember that Bristol race. That to me was the most shameful thing. And I'm glad you brought it up. This is what tells you that the fans are fucking full of shit. He purposely went out on the track, laid back, and blocked Harvick from winning at Bristol. And NASCAR did nothing about it. NASCAR did nothing about it. I didn't hear the only people that were upset were Harvick fans. But outside of that, people didn't care. In fact, I saw a lot of Elliott fans defending what he did. That is shameful. But see, that's why I say things like these guys. They won't fight, but they'll do low-handed shit like that with the race car. And Harvick should have fucking punched his lights out. So that's partly on him too. So I remember that. Flaming says, you know what? You're right. Disco, they're all like that. I guess the only one who stands outside the box is Truex. Yeah, I could say Truex is somebody who he's always, I don't know, he's very respectful of everybody. Um, I'm not a Truex fan, but I will say I'm a fan of how he carries himself. I respect him. I do. I've never really seen him And the I have seen him get upset, but even when he gets upset, he doesn't let it like make him do something stupid or say something stupid. Like he just says what he needs to say and then he just like moves on. Um Personally, if I'd rather see a guy just fucking punch someone out if you have to. I know I'm condoning violence, I shouldn't, but there are times where sometimes you got to do something. You can't just fucking talk. You can't just talk. So at some point you got to do something. Right. A lot of people bringing up, okay, Logano used up by Golden. Yeah, man. Dirt Game Cafe, welcome. I'll be honest, I don't even understand why Chase's dad was all that popular. Awesome Bill won a single championship and ended his career with 44 wins, 11 of which, by the way, were one season. Eh, I mean, that's a pretty fucking kick-ass career. I mean, I get it. If you're not a Bill Elliott fan, you know, that's fine. But that's a pretty fucking solid career. Um, yeah, I don't know, man. I think people were just so tired of Chevy dominating, they needed a Ford representative to root for, and he was the best they had. Yeah, I don't know, man. Um, I don't remember too much of that time, but it's weird why people get so popular. It's tough. Like I knew why Dale Jr. was popular, right? If Dale Jr. wasn't Dale Sr.'s son, if he was just a random guy, same career, nobody would have cared, right? He didn't do anything that stood out to where people were like, he would have had a very small fan base. But it's because he's Dale Jr. He inherited a lot because of his father. I like Jr., but I understand why he was popular. I could say, yeah, Bill Elliott, I could take him or leave him, but he did have a fucking that's a pretty good career, man. Um, Die Hard heard from a family friend. Larson just wins more. Truex will miss the first round. Logano and Bubba are better at Bristol. Yeah, I've seen Wallace run well there, but Bristol is a fucking blender. You do need some luck. Like, I hope he does well there. Um, it sucks, man. He having that tire go down this weekend. It was a real kick to the balls. Like I didn't like seeing that, but it's part of racing. Jonathan, I'm happy that Kevin doesn't care how popular Elliot is. I hate the Elliot fans saying take your helmet off, take your helmet off. I don't blame Kevin for leaving his helmet. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like when drivers leave their helmet on. Like if you're gonna confront somebody, take your fucking helmet off. That's not a good look. Leaving the helmet on. I don't care who it is. Take the fucking helmet off. If you're gonna go chest to chest with anybody, yeah, take your helmet off. Diehard. I bought NASCAR Evolution in 21 on day one, so I'm done doing that. At least you learned your lesson. That's all I can ask for. Remember the GTA trilogy took 4 years to release. Um, are you talking about the original trilogy? Yeah, they came out like 1 year after the other. Those days are over. Jonathan, I think it's weird how Rockstar Games still haven't done a GTA 5 online update that features Michael. We have Trevor, Franklin, and Lamar, and Lester from story mode. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't played GTA 5 and since I joined iRacing, so it's been over 3 years. Sometimes I miss it. Sometimes I want to go back on, but I don't have time. Like my time is so limited for gaming. I'm very selective about where I spend my time. And and then I try to get in some races every week on iRacing. So I don't have a lot of time. It's gonna be GTA 6, I think, the next thing I get. I don't see anything else at the moment. Boss FTW is a clown. Yeah, he's a fucking joke. I fucking can't stand that guy, and he's got fucking millions of subs. It's just crazy, but it's an easy grift. Bell and him are talented, but makes too many mistakes. Um, I don't know if you're talking about who, Blaney. Blaney didn't give a damn. LOL. Yeah, that. Oh. Austin said, yeah, that's 2021 Bristol race pissed me off as a Harvick fan. Yeah, that was one of the most disgusting things I've seen because it wasn't like he kind of door checked him or something and then this thing went on for the rest of the race. And he physically held him from trying to pass for several laps. If I was NASCAR, I would have suspended him. That was insane that he could get away with that. Flaming said, I'm convinced after that Elliott Harvick incident, that's when Harvick said, yeah, I'm calling it quits. I can't with these kids. Start the retirement talk. Maybe, but he did stick around. That was a while ago. Um, well, it felt much longer. That was 2021, so it wasn't that long ago. Okay. Jonathan says, funny thing, Mr. Boss owns a McLaren, and it's because of how many subs he has making clickbait videos. 80% of the video to get to the point. Yeah, but they're all clickbait. He never gets to the point because there's never any real, everything's just bullshit. And he makes money because the vast majority of his audience are kids. So he monetizes. The videos are all 10 minutes long, which is where you maximize your views and your fucking commercial time. And they're kids. They're mostly kids that follow people like that. So he's a fucking clown. But there's a dozen different people doing it. They saw the grift. They said, well, I can do it too. They're all doing it. Die Hard says he never says GTA Grand Theft Auto 5 to get to the 10-minute limit. Oh, and then he repeats a lot of shit, like to stretch out a 4-minute video into 10. It's crazy. Dale made Bill look so bad, but they didn't buy his shirts because of the hate. Dirt Game Cafe. I'm not denying Bill had a solid career, but the most popular driver of his decade, it's just odd. Fans are funny. Fans, like I said, fans are funny. Some guys get real popular and you don't know why. And some guys you do kind of know. It's like it's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. Die Hard, most were senior fans in private. I guess if you're talking about Junior, yeah, he inherited most of their fans. Jonathan says, Austin, I'm a Kevin Harvick fan too. I will say it did make me happy to see some Elliott fans were upset at Elliott for it. Yeah, some people did speak out, but for the most part, NASCAR really allowing that to happen and not doing anything was crazy. Flaming Table says Mr. Boss FTW was able to make it that successful with that type of formula. Fernando somewhere punching the air right now. Fernando, he took. See, I will say this. I couldn't stand that guy either. But he was more brazen. Like he was actually making fake like boxes of GTA 6 and like showing you the box and then like unboxing it like, oh, look what I got in the mail. And it was crazy. Like kids believe that shit. So, but that is so blatant that he got kicked off. So, you know, Mr. Boss, he's more of a rumor spreader that, bullshit artist. Fernando was just like a fucking clown, like begging really to get taken down for fucking fraud or whatever the fuck. So, yeah. Lipsy Jimmy. Yeah, all those guys. Those are the days. GTA 4 and San were 4 years apart. Not bad. Yeah, you can make a great game in 4 years, especially if you are a company with the resources of Rockstar and Take Two. Um, so that's a normal wait. But, GTA 5 changed everything. The success of that game, nobody saw that coming. Like that to the level of that money machine. I gotta end this thing soon, guys. I played the story mode on PC modded. I saw some hilarious fucking videos of GTA 4 modded online. I watched some of these videos. They're fucking crazy. Jonathan says, I watched that Bristol replay from Kevin's car audio and camera, and Kevin didn't do anything wrong to Elliot. Elliot touched Kevin's right side and make. Yeah, some of these guys, I'm just saying, it could be a racing incident and they take it personal. They get upset. It is what it is. Diehard says he dated underage girls too. Who's that? Who dated underage girls? Yes, Briscoe and Cindric are pretty bad too. Yeah, I don't see much from them, but in all honesty, that fucking Stuart Haas is not. They're not pushing the only car that's competitive is Harvick and Cindric. He sucks. Yeah, some of these guys, I don't see them sticking around if they don't make vast improvement. Project 94, Jeff Gordon crashing the hell out of Clint Boyer. Was there a suspension for that? I don't remember about it, but that was that the one where Clint Boyer started running after the race and the cameras were following him. That was pretty funny. Durkheim says fans are funny indeed. Best way of putting it. Yeah, don't fucking waste time wondering fans' motives. You know, you won't get it. Elite Precision, what's up, man? Good to see you. You just got here in time to watch the live stream come to an end. I gotta end it in about 10 minutes. Hope everyone having a good evening. So yeah, thanks for at least popping in, Jonathan. Funny thing, I think in that 2021 Bristol night race, a few cars had issues with getting touch on the right side of the car. When Elliott did that to Kevin, Elliott and his fans blamed Kevin. Yeah, I don't remember too much more. I remember fucking this guy just blocking him lap after lap. I couldn't believe he got away with that. Austin says I could tell Fernando did it to just be a prick. Yeah, seeking attention, and he had the most punchable fucking face. I shouldn't say that with his fucking braces and his fucking. It's just he looked like the type of guy you want to punch. I think he's back on YouTube, by the way. He's not doing what he used to do, though, as far as I know. Diehard says, I play GTA 4 modded too, and saying, yeah, GTA 4, I've seen some hilarious mods for that. Right. Diehard says, crazy how Briscoe dominated Xfinity. Yeah, I mean, these guys can go there, and if they got a good car. Andrew Rye speaking, Dale Jr., I heard he got to have an interview with WWE legend Dusty Rhodes' son Cody. It seems like they had a lot in common. Their dads were fans of each other. Oh, that's cool. Die Hard, no bill was over. Popular senior one champs. Bill had won and bitched about everyone. Yeah, I don't remember much about Bill Elliott other than watching like old footage. Jonathan Johnson, I love watching the funny GTA 5 moments. Oh yeah, there's so much about that game. That game has produced a lot of entertainment. And look, as much as I don't, I'm gonna. This is gonna be my last comments before I sign off, guys. But as much as I hate the direction that Rockstar has taken, with GTA Online and all the milking this shit, and they've really done a lot to ruin GTA and GTA Online. Adding, I think they've taken things too far when it comes to the world that they've built. Like, it's always been over the top, but if you remember, like Saints Row, that was like the over the top open world game, and Rockstar was a little more grounded. Like, the way it is now, they like make Saints Row look like a serious game. The weapons, it's over. They've gone way overboard. Everything's over militarized. The weapons are too powerful. You got these stupid oppressor flying fucking bikes. Uh, and the reason they add all this, I'm not dumb. They did it for fucking, for money. These kids, they have to have all this stuff. They get their parents to give them money. They spend money on shark cards. That's where they make their money. I fucking hate the business model, but it ruined the game for me. Like the online, I mostly spent time racing. Like doing other things online, it got to be really annoying because you had all these people flying in jets or these oppressor bikes just making people miserable. You can't enjoy yourself. So I wish they would kind of go back to the way it was and tone it back. Get rid of some of these flying cars that go underwater and fucking fly in the air. Like, I mean, it's gone overboard. It would be nice if they dialed it back. But if they dial it back, they're not going to be able to make as much money. So I think the tube is out the toothpaste. They're not going to put it back in. It's over. All right, guys. I have to call it a night. Um, sorry. But thanks for joining the live stream. Thank you for everybody who showed up. And like I said, as news come out, I'll talk about it. September 30th is only about 3 weeks away. Um, and, in the future, any real news regarding GTA, I'll talk about that as well. So, anyway, thank you everybody for showing up. And I want you guys to have a good night. Later, guys.